Welcome to the pod, Todd. I'm glad you showed up. When I say shut up, I'm glad you pulled out your phone and decided to listen. I miss you, man. It's been a long time, and this is the only way I can talk to you anymore is by making this podcast.
Do you have a real name, a real friend named Todd?
His name's Todd.
Oh, no kidding.
I don't.
See,
I've never known a Todd my whole life.
Well, before we get into that, how about we introduce
I'm
ourselves?
Will. He knows that. But this is Austin Bagwell, and I'm Will Cates.
I like how you're looking at the wrong camera.
I looked at the wrong camera.
So I'm totally going to leave all that in because you were doing that last time. The camera's actually facing you.
I know. And I'm
going to
look at the one
I'm
over
going to
here.
turn all the way around and look at the wrong camera.
How are you doing over there?
So you were saying you don't actually have a friend named Todd.
And what's funny is I've never known a Todd my whole life. Have you ever known a Todd?
I've known. So I knew a kid in high school with the last name Todd, and it was one of those things because I played football with him. We called him by his first and his last name. So his name was Michael Todd. So we call him Mike Todd.
Okay.
But that was that was a pretty normal thing.
I'm now regretting that intro because there's a Todd out there that's like, oh, cool. Forget all about me.
I thought they were talking to me, but you mean like somebody you knew that you've forgotten?
From
bro, way to call yourself out. Well, it is what it is. So,
it is. Now I'm starting to think of this one kid that juggled in high school. That was a nice guy. We never became friends, and his name might have been Todd.
Like his talent was juggling.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was pretty good at it.
We all have our quirks.
Dude, juggling is one of those things that when you start to do it and you get it one or two times and you're like, I'm actually practice right now till I master it.
Yeah, I can.
And then
this.
You can juggle?
Oh, I used to be able to.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was more so playing on what you were saying. Like, I got this, whatever. Yeah. And then somebody throws in that third ball and you're like, you know what? Juggling's not for me.
But you get in your head as soon as you start now's the time, this moment, I'm going to master it.
So you
stick with it and then you give up.
Is there something that you thought you were passionate about, really started getting into it, and then realized that you weren't?
Yeah. I would say, wow. I love that I'm blanking. I do have an addictive personality, I've learned, where when I get really interested in something, that's all I want to do. And normally it's not really something that's very challenging. It's more like interests that are like right now I'm just really, really into reading short stories, and I'll every night read short stories before bed. You know what I mean? It's not really things that are challenging. I really don't challenge myself a whole lot. What about you though?
Yeah, so I definitely have one. It's rock climbing. I know that's
dude, so fun. I used to do it so much as a kid. Now I haven't done it in years.
I used to boulder and rock climb. It was indoor climbing mostly. I did outdoor climb a few times, but I really enjoyed indoor bouldering and rock climbing. And I was super passionate about it. I won't say really good. I got pretty good at it. In fact, there's old videos of me that I took of myself rock climbing on YouTube, where it was just learning different routes, and I would go back and watch them to see could have done this differently. Could have done a different handhold here.
That's cool about that. You can look at videos and see, I should have stepped there, grabbed this. So that's something.
The reason I uploaded them to YouTube was literally because I didn't have that much space on my phone for a bunch of videos. So that's how I would store videos and be able to go back to them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But the moment I realized it wasn't something I was passionate about like I thought was when I was climbing. So this was when I worked retail investigations. So I'd have random days off during the week. So I would rock climb, most of the time before work or after work.
Oh, that's
but on my
cool.
days off, I would go in the middle of the afternoon. And that's when a bunch of the homeschool kids that was part of their PE curriculum was going rock climbing.
Oh, that's
super cool. Those kids were just destroying me, and I was like,
"That's their thing.
Maybe this isn't for me."
Yeah,
maybe I'm not as good or as passionate about this as I thought. And frankly, I really enjoyed it, and I met one of my best friends rock climbing.
It rocks.
Yeah, it was. Oh god. Oh boy.
Here we go. We're off.
I can't. I've said this before. I can't wait for this man to become a dad because he's just got this back catalog of dad jokes just waiting in the wings. But yeah, for me it was rock climbing. Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where
Yeah.
And, I just kind of figured out, like, okay, maybe I'm just not as passionate about
Yeah,
this.
but I bet if you just go once, go again, you'll be right back into it. You
Oh
think?
man, I don't know. I was younger then. I was probably 26, 27 when I started rock climbing, and I'm not that much older. I'm 34, but you realize pretty quickly when you hit your 30s that like you don't recover as quickly as you used to.
I'm 28.
It's true,
and I can tell that I'm gonna be one of those that like are aching all the time. Yeah. I might have mentioned it recently, but like I'm having this thing where I'll either like cough really hard and my shoulders and arms start hurting, or like I'll just like be walking up the steps and one knee just gives out completely.
I haven't had any coughing spells that have caused joint pain or pains in other parts of my body, but I have found that I don't recover as quickly as I used to.
Yeah. Oh, so, yeah.
Like this past Saturday, or was it on a Sunday? It doesn't matter. Last weekend, Austin. So I had gone out running, and I was just doing sprints. So the reason, the thought process behind this is I'm trying to condition my heart.
Oh, okay.
Then I can get full swing into working out again. And so I was doing sprints up and down the road out in front of my house. Mm-hmm. And then Austin came out with our daughter and was like, "Hey, I'm going to go for a walk." I'm like, "Okay, cool." She said, "Do you want to join me?" I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I do. Yeah, I do." So what I decided to do was I was doing sprints from like a certain mailbox to another certain mailbox. Mm-hmm. Like our neighborhood's great. It's a loop and it's about a mile in total. Like you do all the cul-de-sacs and everything.
It's good for running. It's looks great like,
for it. Yeah. So I was doing sprints and jogging for a mile, and I did that several times. And I was sore for the next 3 days, even after stretching. And I know what some people are going to say. You didn't stretch. I stretched twice. In the same day is what I'm saying. I stretched several times, and it progressed for 2 or 3 days.
I don't think you stretched.
I stretched. But anyway, I'm still going to do it. I'm going to do it again. I feel fine now. Like I don't have any pain whatsoever now. And so
this is just repetition, I guess, and then you stop being sore. But
well, your muscles are growing, they're strengthening themselves. So that soreness after working out is where your muscles have torn, and those muscle fibers are working themselves back together. They got to heal. That's actually that's where muscle growth comes from.
It's wild.
That and proteins,
the ripping and the tearing.
Yeah, and then so that's what that soreness is. It's lactic acid buildup, and then also the muscles themselves tearing.
Lactic acid is involved.
You've never heard?
I've heard of that. But so I didn't know that was involved.
Where did you hear it from?
I'll be honest, every time I think of lactic acid, I think it involves you're drinking too much milk or something.
That's lactate. That's what you're talking about.
You got a lactic acid buildup.
No, so I learned about lactic acid from the Magic School Bus.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So Miss Frizzle, did you ever watch the Magic? They actually watched the show. So
dude.
I watched the show, and I remember the books from when I was a kid in school. Miss Frizzle was in like a track and field competition with another teacher at another school, but it was a dude. And he was like this big muscular guy or whatever.
He thought it was all that too.
Yeah. Like super, super like, I'm the man, I'm big and buff and this and that and the other. But Miss Frizzle, they were running up like stadium stairs or something like that as part of this competition. And her kids were in the school bus in her body. And the whole episode is like, what's your body doing?
Oh, it's like Osmosis Jones.
Right. But so here's the thing. Miss Frizzle cheated. Mm-hmm. So she won the competition.
She's rad.
But only because the kids were inside of her body and like they're in like the muscle tissues of her body.
Pulling on things?
And you can see like this white color taking over her muscle. And that's like to illustrate lactic acid and what it does. So what the kids did is they massaged those muscles to get rid of the lactic acid, and she was able to win the race. Miss Frizzle is a cheater. She's a cheater. She cheats.
She's so rad. Dude, it's reverse ratatouille.
Dude,
it's like inside.
Miss Frizzle is promoting cheating to children. So I don't know why I just thought of this, but I did. And it makes me so hot.
Bro, that's wild because that's all about
She's still. I bet you Lance Armstrong saw that episode of
Oh, for
Magic
sure.
School Bus. Was like, oh, that's a great idea. I should do that.
Oh yeah, and he's like, I mean, I feel like he would know. He would know. He would know.
Yes, Will. Lance Armstrong would know about cheating. Thank you. That's exactly.
But
You know,
really,
you can tell when someone doesn't have some input on a subject. We're like, yeah, this guy and this thing.
he look he really will be remembered for not only that but also inventing wristbands that are not inventing but bringing them back in a big way. Those style,
rubber,
they were. Everyone wore them for all of high school.
Absolutely, Live Strong.
Yeah.
Everybody knew his story.
Yeah.
And little did they know he was cheating.
And if you try to order any wristbands now, they can be for like all these different sayings on them, but it's that style.
Yeah, yeah.
That rubber style.
Yeah. Remember slap bands?
Slap bands.
There's metal, there's metal or plastic, wherever they were. And
they're fun.
Yeah.
We got them now where I work. I work at a toy store, and we actually have slap bracelets that are animals, and they're hugging you. Oh. So the band is their arms, and when they and when you slap it, they're holding on.
Do you ever look at like some of the toys that kids have these days and are kind of jealous that you didn't have them when you were a kid?
100%, dude.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
there's a few things I'm like that.
Yeah. They really have it made when it comes to some of the their Transformers are really cool now. So we sell some Transformers that, you know, in the movie you watch all these parts move and they come up and stand up.
That was really good. That was a really good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
that was very good. And seriously, that was top.
I mean, we haven't got to dance on the pod yet, but I'm figuring out how that could work sitting down. But they pop it and lock it all the way up, and and watching them transform up and then back down into a car. Like if I had that as a kid, I would be
the number of Transformers my parents gave me as a kid, like as toys, that never transformed back.
You did it yourself too.
They
typically
never transformed back.
Oh,
they were just the guy.
And you're like, how did I?
They never again became the vehicle. I'm talking like 5 or 6 of them. They were just the dude.
Mm-hmm.
And when I never got them back.
Oh man, when I came across our old toys when we searched through my parents' storage years ago, the Transformers we found were all they weren't the car, they were the man.
They were the dude.
Yeah. And at that point they were completely stiff.
Oh yeah, they're staying that guy. Yeah, totally, absolutely.
Those movies, they just announced they're doing another one, and I watched the trailer though. I hate to say it, but I watched the trailer and I was like, still really into it. I was like,
yeah. I remember that. Actually, I've seen the trailer too. It's got it's
a pretty good trailer.
It's got Optimus Primal.
Yeah.
Which Optimus Primal, if you've never seen the show Beast Wars, which I don't expect anyone to have seen it unless you're our age, it was the Transformers TV show from '96, I think it was, and it was completely CGI. And it was all the Transformers as animals. And they had Optimus Primal. Megatron was still Megatron, though. Like, that was kind of weird.
They couldn't think of a spin for it.
I think Starscream was still Starscream. I think. I don't remember.
Megatron should have been like Mega, some sort of shark.
I don't know. He was a Transformers Rex. Anyways, the new Transformers movie has the Beast Wars characters intermingled with the Transformers characters.
It's only natural.
I'm not about it, man. Like I've been burned too many times seeing those movies. I'm just not gonna. There's no movies coming out.
Yeah. Now
that I care about at all. Like
it's more. I'll give this a try. That's sort of.
I'm not even gonna do it.
Well, there have been some surprises for you though.
Austin and I watched Airplane. From 1980 last night, and it was hilarious.
So funny.
And it's a movie that is literally just gags
the whole
movie.
That speed of which the laughs come is you don't get that anymore.
No
movies are that consistently funny throughout the whole thing, and they tried to keep that sort of style going with the scary movies, which I loved back in the day. I haven't seen them in years, but and to be real, comedy movies I feel like are not even happening anymore.
I don't waste my time with them. I mean, like sometimes Austin and I will sit down to eat dinner, and she's like, you know what, let's watch a movie tonight. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm down.
Yeah.
And you go on Netflix, and it's like, well, what do you want to watch? Well, I want to watch a comedy. Okay, sure, that's fine.
Good luck.
And I inevitably end up finding something that's old.
Oh, yeah.
I never watch new comedies because I know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And they're never funny.
Yeah. And you can see the same style jokes used over
In
and
every single movie. Like watching Airplane, it was what I really liked about it was unless you actually knew certain aspects of pop culture, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's in that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's one of the pilots. And this little kid goes into the cockpit. He's the actual pilot is hilarious with this
So
kid. It's
good,
so, like he puts his arm around this kid and goes, "So Jimmy, have you ever seen a grown man naked before?" And I'm like, "What? What?
Doesn't he get up and leave
What?
too?
No. He's just like Jimmy doesn't do anything. He's just
No,
like,
but I thought he like left the kid to fly at one part. Maybe I'm thinking
that never
something.
happened. But anyway, at one point the kid comes back into the cockpit, so he's left, then comes back, and he just picks up a basketball. It's just in the cockpit. It's so strange. He just picks up a basketball. And he starts just dunking on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, my dad says that you're one of the laziest players unless it's playoffs. And Kareem, he looks at the kid and goes, "I'm a pilot." And then he says, he dunks on me. He's like, my dad says if you actually try to get rebounds, your team would do way better. He's like, "I don't play basketball. I'm a pilot." Like, and then at one point in the movie, they ended up dragging him out of the cockpit because he's unconscious. He's wearing the pilot uniform up here, but then he's wearing basketball shorts and knee pads as they drag him out.
It is so good.
It's really good. And it's like those kinds of movies, man. I really enjoy those.
It doesn't have to be sophisticated, or it also doesn't have to be like sarcastic or raunchy. It just needs to be goofy and fun.
Comedies these days just default to raunchy, and I just don't. I'm not about it. Same thing with like a lot of HBO shows.
Yeah.
They just automatically, if you're going to watch something on HBO and it's made by HBO, go in knowing that you're going to see nudity. It's the same thing with Netflix.
They think it's they've developed what I guess is their style of this adult entertainment. That sounds like worse than it is, but it's basically that. And that they have this, that everything they do is to the max. HBO Max.
No, I hope that's not something they actually did. Like, or HBO Max, let's show boobs. Like,
they did bring in some classics onto there. You can find some hitters on the movies now.
Yeah. Like if that's
they're
what,
original.
They're
original content.
That's what I'm talking about. Like if it's made by HBO,
you're
gonna see nudity, and it's just who cares? Like, get over it.
They're Game Night. Yes, Game Night. Have you seen it?
No.
It came out like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. It's Jason Bateman. Do you know who that is? Yeah. And it's Rachel McAdams, the chick from The Notebook and Wedding Crashers. But they have this this game night every week with their friends. That's what they do, and they take it very seriously. They're very competitive. That is the last like comedy movie that I remember being really, really funny and really good without having to go into anything sort of like typical raunchy or just overused stuff.
Comedies don't really appeal to me, if I'm honest with you. Like, I'm not going to go to the movies to see a comedy movie. I'm just not. That's not why I go. I'm not interested in that. But recently, man, it's just been like anime, old movies, things like that. I was watching. I think it was Tokyo Vice. I was finishing up that series, which is only one season, by the way. It kind of makes me sad. I hope they come out with a second season. But
I've been meaning to watch that because you've told me some awesome
it's
stuff.
Really good. One of the things about it that I like is that it is a good majority of it is in Japanese.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of subtitles in it. But one of the things I really enjoy about it is how eloquent the Japanese language translated into English is. And I think I texted this to you earlier. I really want to bring back certain phrases that we just don't have in conversation anymore.
Yes.
One of the, like, at one point, one of the characters was leaving, to go home from another character's house. And I know this is super simple, but it means something to me. As the main character is leaving, the other character says to him, "Farewell."
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's such an innocuous term,
dude.
but it's so meaningful. There's so many phrases that we have just shed
Completely.
Conversation is just so it's something these days that we have to do, not something we enjoy.
Yeah.
And I want to change that.
Mm-hmm.
I and in my own little way, like when someone asks me how I am, I don't say I'm good. I say I'm well, because that's actually the proper response.
There's a music to the conversation that you want, that people may not be thinking about, but it affects you. I mean, if you hear the same old stuff all the time, which is typically the case with small talk, it wears you down even if you don't know it's happening. But if you speak to someone and they're speaking elegantly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Eloquent and elegant.
Yeah, so both of those, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give you a great example. Have you ever, let's say you go to the gas station, you're inside, you're paying for something, and they say, let's see. I'm trying to think of that situation where you inadvertently say "you too."
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I used to do it in the movie theater.
I've got a better one. Hang on. When you go out to dinner and the waiter drops off your food, they go, "Enjoy your food." You go, "You too,"
and then you just feel like, oh,
yeah, exactly. It's because we've gotten into this haze of what conversations are these days. It's just this automatic
something you got to get through.
Yes,
not something you soak in.
Get to do.
Yeah.
Like think about this. There are not so distant past when people were living so far dispersed that it was a big deal to go to town.
Huge deal.
Like there would be weeks at a time where people wouldn't see their neighbors just because they didn't live near anybody.
They're in silence, or the only conversation they have is who they're living with.
Right.
And and because of that, you're thinking about what you're going to talk about when you get to see this person.
Yes.
And also, that person's opinion of you is based just off of those visits.
Yes.
And yeah, it's something that should be taken seriously. And I feel like sometimes when I'm at work and I'm talking with a customer, I'll kind of get into it and I'll start chatting with them, and I can see them where they're sort of like starting to walk out the door while they're talking to me, and I'm like, all right, we'll ease back. But like, I really love a good conversation. Naturally, we're on a podcast.
Yeah,
but,
right. Yeah. I've through just years of interviews and investigations and talking to people. It's something that
interrogations.
Interrogations as
that
well.
Too.
It's gotten to the point where I really understand, or I want to say I fully understand, but I've really come to understand that conversation isn't something I have to do.
Yeah,
it's something I get to do.
Yeah,
and I need to take that more seriously. And it's part of becoming a dad. If I'm honest with you, becoming a dad, I've really started to learn how to slow down and just enjoy those moments.
They're everything.
Yeah, with every single thing. Like when my daughter laughed for the first time, that was a big deal. Mm-hmm. When she rolled over for the first time, that's a big deal.
I love that video.
It's like why of course it's a big deal. I get the opportunity to watch this human being from the beginning.
Yeah,
like I saw her when she was birthed. I've watched her since day one grow. Like it really puts things into perspective if you allow it.
It's not something to get through; it's something to be in.
That you get to be a part of.
Yeah.
And that's I really want to bring back that eloquence, that art of conversation, and it doesn't have to be like sophisticated.
No, it's about listening and also trying to bring something unique to, like when you're talking to someone, trying to surprise them with insight that they may not have been expecting, or even if that's just a kind remark. Like it's because really it's that conversation can be the standout moment in their day. I've had moments where I've gone out in public, right, and I have met a stranger and had like a short, nice conversation, and I'll be thinking about it later. Like that was really, I don't know. Yeah. It makes a difference.
The conversations these days have become transactions.
Yeah,
I give you something, you give me back something, and then we're done.
My turn, your turn, my turn.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. But even more specifically, again, it's I better get something of value from this because I'm giving you something of value. and it doesn't need to be that. Like,
No.
if
This is the value, is the fact we're talking right now.
yeah,
Not necessarily what you leave with. Let's just enjoy the...
it's if people had no expectations of things, like some of my wife's coworkers had learned that I was on a podcast, that I was starting a podcast.
Yeah.
And they were asking her what it was about. And I was like, well, just tell them it's not about anything. Like it's literally just two guys talking about what they want to talk about.
Easy listening.
And, that's the whole premise behind it. It got me thinking, like, what are the goals of our podcast? And again, we talked about this earlier just before we started. There are no expectations with it.
We're meeting our goal right now.
This is our chance for you and I to bond because we have full-time jobs. I own my own business. I've got a daughter now. You have your relationship. You're driving to your parents' house on weekends sometimes. Like we weren't getting that bonding time, and this is twofold. This is for us to be creative, and for us to spend time together. And it's
something to look forward to.
It is. If something comes of that, fantastic. If we entertain 5 people,
that's worth it.
That is worth it. That is. It absolutely is.
And it makes you feel so good knowing that other people are taking away enjoyment like we are. Like the fact that just proves that what we've been talking about, that they want that conversation. They want that realness. I try to avoid saying realness,
I
but
hope that's
get real.
I hope that's what it is. But I do want to give a shout out to our default number 1 fan real quick, Miss Harriet Cates.
Yes.
Thank you for all of your kind comments on Instagram. I at first thought that it was a bot. Like legitimately, I'm like, who's this person leaving all of these comments on?
Because there's no profile picture.
There's no profile picture, and I looked at it and I was like, it's got the same last name as Will.
Yep.
Hey Will, who's this person? He goes, oh, that's my grandma. So, Miss Cates, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate it. It's such an honor and a joy to just know Will. So whatever hand you had in raising this young man, I really appreciate it.
Oh man, both hands. Oh man, and the best hugs.
She hit me with the left and then the right.
Oh no, nothing but hugs, Grandma. I love you so much, and having you.
I had a very different upbringing.
Oh, there were hits, but more from Mom and Dad, and that was when I truly needed
I deserved it. I'm just gonna go and say it. I deserved to get hit, and I did. It wasn't like in the face.
Yeah.
It was all lower body strikes, like the butt and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I will say this: as my parents got older, their aim was trash. Like
Dude.
It was all up and down my back, down the back of my thigh. And I'm like, I'm not even moving. Like, just hit me in the butt. Like,
Dude, for real.
It was everywhere.
And some people I know are familiar with the switch bush as well, or switch tree.
My parents just used a belt.
The belt, honestly, is probably the worst
When
because
I
it
heard
can.
Go ahead. No. Well, when I
gotta
heard
hear.
people say the switch, I'm like, I don't know what that is. They were like, oh yeah, my mom or dad would make me go get a stick.
Yeah.
And if I didn't bring one back that was large enough, they would get one that was bigger, like way
Worse.
bigger.
Yeah.
I was like, no, my dad just used a belt. Like he took his belt off.
Yeah.
And whacked me with it.
Oh man.
And like this isn't. Don't leave comments below about it. It's not good to hit your kid. Like.
That's been talked about enough.
Seriously, that's not what this is about. It's just a funny anecdote about me remembering getting hit all over the place.
Did you ever have that funny moment where it's like where you're getting a whooping and they must not put enough into it because it's not hurting, so you're doing the fake. Oh man, the fake crying.
I didn't fake it. I made the mistake. So my mom,
snap.
my mom was popping me for something. She was using her hand.
Yeah, the hand too, I remember.
And it hurt.
Yeah.
But not like as bad as it used to.
That was more sending a message.
Yeah, hang on. It didn't hurt as bad as it used to. So what I did, I remember the words I said to her. It stung, but not bad. And I looked at her and said, that doesn't even hurt. And you know what she
couldn't
said?
help it.
You know what she said to me? Just wait till your dad gets home. And I did. I waited till my dad got home. I sat in a chair in the corner of the dining room until he got home. He walked in and he looked at me and goes, what did you do?
Just pulls
Dang
off
it.
Because they don't want to do that.
Yeah. My dad is pretty chill. Like he did spank me a couple times and again deserved it. I'm just going to go and say it. But I remember a time in middle school I got into a fight and it's the only fight I got into in middle school. And a kid had bullied my best friend in middle school, and so I stood up for my friend. Well, in North Carolina, they have the zero tolerance policy. So it doesn't matter why you get in a fight. It doesn't matter who you fight or for what reason.
They just want you to keep your hands to yourself no matter
you're
what.
You're both getting suspended. That's just how it is. I was like, I thought my dad was going to murder me. I thought he was going to kill me. So he came and picked me up. He didn't say anything in the principal's office. We get home, and as I said, I was suspended for 3 days, like out of school suspension, 3 days. And I was like, he didn't say a word on the way home. I'm like, boy, he's gonna let me have it when I get home. And he ended up there was a convenience store not far from our house. We called it the little store because physically it's a small store. And he got out. He goes, come on. So I went in with him, and he immediately walked over to where like the candies and the chips and the snacks were. He goes, all right, pick out snacks for 3 days. So pick out 3 different snacks, and that'll be your snacks for the next 3 days. And I was super confused. I was like, what kind of mind game is this right now? And so I picked out 3 snacks, and we got in the car, and it's less than a mile to the house. And he goes, I understand that you got into a fight. You can't get into fights, but what you did was right. So, we're going to hang out for the next 3 days and just chill at the house. So we watched Jurassic Park one day. We watched Independence Day another day.
All the big hitters.
I forget the third movie we watched, but I was like, it was such a sense of relief. I thought I was going to get killed.
Those sort of stories, I mean, a lot of times they are dad stories. Where
moms. Will's hating on all the moms.
No, dude, I love the moms, dude. No, seriously. But really, though, I've heard other stories where all of a sudden a dad switches things up and surprises you with this moment of like, and you sometimes see it in TV and movies, and it can be really touching when they're like, they're like, I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because truly, there's going to be times in your life where you feel like you have that moment where you can stick up for somebody. And I think nowadays, probably more than ever, most people would feel like it's best to just stay in your lane. Yeah. And so there's a conversation probably to be had about when to step in, but I struggle with that, and I probably am more the type to, I don't know, maybe call the police, but not really step in.
Like
in a real situation now as an adult. Like,
so
I know it's different with you because you have you have experience in.
So I've come across I'll give you an example. A couple of years ago, I came across a car accident not far from where you live.
Oh, snap.
It was at an intersection, and I pulled up. There was no law enforcement or anything there yet. There was a pickup truck that was smashed on the front end and on the side. In the middle of the intersection, the car it hit was over off the side of the road, and there was one other car stopped, and they were on the phone. They weren't involved. So I stopped. I got out, and I asked the people that were standing out on the road, like, "Hey, is everybody okay?" Like, "Yep, they're fine. We're good." I walk over to the pickup truck, and there's an older woman still sitting in the driver's seat behind the wheel, and she's just sitting there. And so I opened the passenger door, and I got in the truck.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, are you okay?" She goes, "Oh," she had to be in her 80s. She was so upset that the truck was damaged because it was her grandson. So she was so worried about her grandson. And I said, "Ma'am, I'm not worried about your grandson. He's not going to be upset. Mm-hmm. Are you okay? Are you sore anywhere?" And she was still wearing her seatbelt. Like, it must have just happened.
In shock, probably.
Yeah, probably. And she was like, "Well, I'm sore right here." And she motioned where the seatbelt was. And then she started going into her grandson again. And so I put my hand on her. Her name is Ruth. I remember her name still. And I put my hand on her. And I said, "My name's Austin. What's your name?" She goes, "My name's Ruth." I said, "Ruth, if you're okay, that's all that matters right now. Your grandson's going to understand. I'm going to sit right here with you until fire or police get here, okay?" She said, "Okay." And we just sat there and we just talked. She's still in this damaged truck. She was still in so much shock that she still had her hands on the steering wheel. Like, she didn't let go. She was still sitting there. And, when fire got there, firefighter got there, he walked up to the side of the truck, and I opened, because I couldn't open her door, so I motioned to him to come around to my side. And I said, I just started talking to him. I said, hey, look, she's complaining of pain where the seatbelt is, no pain to the neck, no pain to the extremities or anything like that, just pain to, where the seatbelt caught or where, it tightens up and everything. He goes, oh, okay, cool, appreciate it. I was like, all right, no worries. And I got out of the truck. I walked over to my truck where it was parked. There was a police officer directing traffic. I got in and I left.
That right there is exactly a great example of what we were talking about earlier of how much just a conversation can be meaningful in a certain. It's not even about what you say, but just being there. I mean, that's so cool that you just shared that moment with her because her mind was thinking of, oh my gosh,
well,
what have I done?
I didn't know what she was thinking about. I was just making sure she was
all
okay.
over the place.
Sure, yeah. But I tell that story not because I'm looking for kudos or anything. No. But the point I'm making is you can get involved, and it doesn't have to be like
an actual heroic thing.
Seriously, you don't have to be like getting like all hands in and bloody hands or just talk. Just talk to somebody. Like you can and just bounce and then just leave.
True that.
Like I haven't heard anything from her. I've never heard anything from anybody about it. I just like once fire got there, okay, this is their job. I'm leaving. I'm out. I'm done. I will say this whole mess of people being in distress or being in bad situations and people just breaking out their freaking phones and recording it. Stop doing that. You are what's wrong with everything that's going on in society. Stop doing that. Help somebody.
Yeah.
Put the phone down. Go help somebody. You don't have to run into a burning building to save children or a cat or old people. You don't have to do any of that. Just be a good person.
Think, what can I do in this moment?
Yeah.
As opposed to, I need other people to see this. Everyone wants an audience.
Yes.
It's wild.
You hit the nail on the head. Everybody wants an audience.
And it's so strange because really you can be doing, we spoke a little bit about this with the whole influencer thing, but people are doing the same thing you're doing. They're going to work, they're coming home, and yet you want this big audience. You want to be famous. I mean, look, be real with who you are, which is just one of us.
Seriously, like you may be the main character in your own life, but you're the background character in someone else's. Yeah. I want to move on to something a little funny here. This happened to me recently. Have you heard of this thing called eBay?
Oh boy, have I! Dude, I have such a good story. Do you have something?
I do.
Hit me with it.
I sent you a text about this earlier, and I think I just sent you Spiteful eBay Bidding. I think that's all I sent you.
And the fact you sent it today is so perfect because that eBay thing happened to me today, right before you sent that text.
I
was
wait
like,
to hear it.
Perfect.
So I've obviously known about eBay for a very long time, but I've never really used it in earnest.
I was
until
late
the
to
past
it.
Year or
Same.
so, really. And so there was a very interesting item that I was bidding on recently. It was a sword from the American Revolution.
Tight.
So I know that there's a lot of like fake items out there, and I did my due diligence on this item, like very, very.
You've told me you're good with research and looking up stuff, and even with normal purchases that aren't like that, you do that time. I'm more of a whoa, click, buy immediately, and with something like that, you should.
I researched the heck out of stuff. So anyway, I made the rookie mistake of bidding on this as soon as the auction started. So this auction's 7 days long. So I immediately made my bid, and I made a max bid. So what a max bid is, for those people who don't use eBay, you can make a bid on an item, or you can make a max bid on an item. And basically what that does is it sets the limit of how far you want to bid on an item. And you don't have to sit there and just sit on the item and keep refreshing and bidding on it. If someone bids on it, but they don't bid above your max, it just slowly increases the increment until it gets to your max bid or someone surpasses your max bid.
There's a site that can do it for you, I think.
Well, you don't have to. You can just do it on eBay.
See, I didn't know that. And a guy told me about a site that I guess started before eBay made it a feature.
Got it.
And that's how I learned about it. And it is really cool because there's a lot of stress of looking at your phone waiting for the next bid.
So what I did is I set my max bid, and someone else bid a smaller amount than my max bid, and it just increases to that, just one bid above that amount.
Like pennies?
No,
probably
it's
$1. So,
So for example, my max bid was like $180,
and it's not going to go over that. It's going to, like what you're saying.
For me,
for you, it's not going to go over that.
So just to keep math easy, let's say my max bid was 180.
Yeah.
And the current bid, like what it's at right now, is $50.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when they bid 55, it's going to put 57.50.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not going to automatically go to my max bid. It's
Nope.
just going to say, hey, look, you're not winning. Someone else has bid it. So
Keeps you ahead.
yeah,
But it won't go over.
it won't go above what you want.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I've probably got like 2 days left. No one else is bidding on this item.
You're
It's
feeling
great.
good.
I'm
Whenever I
feeling
get to the
really
2
good.
in one
Yeah,
day, I'm like,
I'm
okay.
feeling great. I'm really excited for this item.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get it for a good price. I can, it's got some history to it. I love it.
Now, what period was this again?
For the Revolutionary War,
Revolutionary.
so
All
the
right.
1700s,
Yeah.
18th century, and this person starts bidding on it, and I'm watching. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still winning, not a big deal. They hit my max bid. And I'm like, oh man,
Dude.
all right. Well, I did give myself a little bit of breathing room in
Decision
my budget,
time.
so I can. Okay, I'll bump it up. So I bumped it up. Nothing for a couple hours, and they bid again. I'm like, crap. So I bid again.
What's the time frame now?
I've still got 2 days left.
2 days left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So every time I bid, they're still winning, and I'm like,
And you're thinking about that probably in that last 2 hours or so. The next in a day or two, then you get more bids. Typically, in my experience,
so
that last minute bid is annoying by
that
people.
didn't happen on this one.
Good.
What happened was I could never surpass whatever their max bid was. And I'm like,
They were
I've
battling.
already almost doubled what my max bid was, and I don't want to go any higher. But,
There's a fever to it. You catch that.
and this is where spiteful eBay bidding goes. If they're willing to bid so much on this,
Are you going to do what I think
I'm
you're
going
going
to make them pay whatever.
You
they're-
know you're going to lose, so you're just going to make them pay more money.
So what I did was,
Wow.
no, you have to be careful with this.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
So in my mind, I'm helping the seller,
Yeah.
and I'm keeping this person true to their word.
Yeah.
They're willing to bid a lot of money on this thing.
Go ahead,
Okay,
boy.
cool.
Go ahead.
I'm going to make sure you are true to your word, and this seller gets what they should get for this item.
Just shoot him a message after,
It's
like, "Hey, you're welcome."
I should have done that. But so
And you could even do this while staying in your range of where you still would be happy if you won
I was
it.
way past what I was willing
Oh,
to pay.
okay.
But I was slowly and incrementally increasing it
Yeah.
to where it was like,
He's like, "Oh, no big deal."
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I'll never know what this person's max bid was.
I love it.
But I'm like, you're going to be paying for this item that you won. Hey, you won, dude. But you're going to pay for it.
I love this
It
because
sounds so
it's
sinister.
Dude, it sounds sinister, but it's so funny what you said about that buyer is going to get such a good payday. You have lost, but what's wrong with going ahead and making this more difficult for the person? Just because you've lost the battle doesn't mean you gotta lose the war.
Yeah, it's you bow out gracefully. And I feel like I did that.
I tell you what, it's tricky because you do go into it with a plan of how much you want to spend.
Yeah.
And when you get in that back and forth, you're like, I can do a little more. I can do a little more. It's wild.
It sneaks up on you.
Yeah.
But now that my wife and I, we do a budget. We started our budget at the beginning of the year, and we've got one now. It's February, so 2 months in. But I'm not gonna exceed that. Like when I sit down and plan something, that's what I'm doing. That's what it is.
And I really respect that because I want to have. We tried the budget thing for a while, and Jen and I, and it went great. And you kind of just slowly fall off of something. You quit being in the habit, but just at the start of each month, planning it out is it's so helpful.
Seriously, there's a lot of peace within that.
It is. It is. And eBay is in direct opposition of that. And I'm telling you, man, I love eBay. And I've gotten to the point now where, because I was late to it, like you. I didn't really ever use it when I was younger. My brother made sure I got like a Charizard on eBay when I was younger.
Oh, nice.
Or maybe him and my dad, they were...
like a card?
Oh, yeah, the Charizard.
Yeah.
And it was like $50 at the time. At that time, it was $50. But... anyway, and then I ended up losing it. But besides the point, I know I have all my Pokemon cards, but the one you care the most about is somehow vanishes. But anyway, I recently got into selling on eBay, and I'm telling you, man, the craziest thing happened. I love movies, so typically I'm buying movies, but I have this collection of movies now, and if it's a movie that either I'm tired of watching or I was just not as into it as I used to be or whatever, I'll sell it. But more importantly, I'll sell some that are limited editions, right? I actually found, and over time you start to get a feel for which ones are valuable and which ones are not. I was at a used DVD store and I bought Gravity with Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, the Blu-ray, and I bought it because it was this cool case and I could tell it was a limited edition. And so I went and I looked on eBay and I noticed people were selling it for a lot. I was like, whoa, I spent $10 on it. All right. I sold it today for $152.
Bro.
For one movie.
Dude.
Yeah. And it's
not even that old of a movie.
I know, but it's this one, it's a really cool case. It's magnetic. So when you shut it, it clamps.
Yeah.
It unfolds like 4 times with different discs.
Sweet.
And it's just got this really cool case. And they sold a limited number of them, probably like a couple hundred. And it became valuable. And it's just wild because it's so much profit from it.
It's funny. We were talking earlier about things that we thought we were passionate about and realized we weren't. You're making me realize that I'm not as passionate about movies as you are.
Bro, I'm telling you what, that's my thing.
I just enjoy them.
Oh my gosh.
You live for them.
It is just I'm thinking about it probably not on a second basis, but definitely I don't think I can go 5 minutes without thinking of a movie.
That's totally fine.
I love it. Oh no, it's just... it's what we did growing up for fun, and also when I was, we were making videos in high school for YouTube, and then, college came around, and I was trying to teach myself like how to make like really cool videos, working on cinematography and how to make things look really cool and editing and all that. And then now when I'm so busy with work and stuff and everything else going on, movies are my way of getting. That's my way of staying in that sort of mindset, because I love to create and I love to, it feeds that, I guess.
After learning photography and videography through the wonders of YouTube University.
Oh, you really killed it with like diving in and learning the ins and outs, man.
Here's the thing. I notice that I start to dissect different shots in movies and TV shows.
That mindset.
Like once you learn it, so it's kind of the same thing with firearms and TV shows and movies. Whenever a gun is on screen, I know what it's supposed to sound like. I know. And whenever I see someone like, let's say it's like, it makes me sad that they did this in John Wick, especially. I saw it in John Wick, though.
No way they got their sounds messed up in that?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, and they really did work on that.
Well, here's the thing. I don't blame the director. I blame the editor.
Oh, of course. Because
the editor's not there when they film it.
No.
So a great example is whenever I see like an M4 or a AR-style rifle come on screen, but I hear the telltale sound of a shotgun pump, like, and I'm like, that's not what that sounds like at all. Like that
they love that noise.
Does not make that noise at all.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's synonymous with a firearm. That noise. Or like if someone's holding a gun, like especially a pistol, and it like their hand's shaking, right? But you hear like rattling. Oh, it sounds like a maraca. I'm like, that gun's not gonna fire because there's something loose in there.
I'm so glad
that gun's not supposed to make that noise. Like,
wow.
For some reason, when someone hands someone else another gun, you hear click, 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 and I'm like, that's not supposed to make any noise. It doesn't. What's wrong with your firearm? Fix it. Like, drives me nuts.
It's so crazy because I don't know guns like that, but that is something I've noticed in every movie.
Drives me nuts.
When they pick up a gun, it's making so many noises.
It's like it's made of aluminum foil and paper mache. It's like, yeah, it's the worst.
Because
it takes me out of a movie.
It gets the people going.
I guess. Like, normal people.
I will say though that normies. I love that term. When I see people on niche areas of the internet and they refer to people as normies, it makes me laugh. I don't know.
Well, I only know that phrase from Family Guy.
Oh yeah. Underrated, not underrated. It's a very popular show, but I still can watch Family Guy and laugh. Not the new episodes, but if I go back and watch it, I still think it's funny.
I fully understand why my parents didn't let me watch it as a kid, but as an adult, like going back and watching the first few seasons, it's really funny.
It was. The way they would take something that is very small and very specific and something you wouldn't think would be on TV and they can make a whole segment on it. It's really cool. I think I've told you the dad noises is my favorite. I might have mentioned that. It's where they say Lois is like, all right, Peter, we're gonna go to the blah blah blah, and then he's like, yeah, I'll just stay here and make dad noises, and then he literally goes like, and then he stands up out of the chair, and he's like, and then he walks over to the stairs, and he's like, and he's like walking upstairs and making all these little noises, and I'm like, that is hilarious.
Yeah, that's funny to think about it because my dad does that too.
Oh yeah,
he makes all these noises just sitting still. Oh, man, the things we have to look forward to, bro.
I know.
Like I can't wait.
I got the cough down pat. I'm gonna be so.
You have the smoker's cough, but you never actually smoked in your life.
If I smoked cigs, I'd probably keel over.
So, I never really got into smoking like regularly. I smoked when I was deployed. So I was a turret gunner for our truck. And so basically what that means is, whenever we're in the vehicle, I'm up in the turret, standing there for upwards of 12 hours on end.
Oh, yeah. That's a prime smoking time.
Covering. Well, it is. But it was more so to stay awake. I did it to stay awake. So what we did was, when we would go back on base, we would go over to this little local national shop that was on base. It was owned by an Iraqi. And he sold this little blue box of cigarettes. It was blue. It had a basketball on it and the number 40.
And this is their cigarettes, their brand.
They were Saudi Arabian.
Yeah, so they probably they might even be more strong, would you say?
Frankly, I don't know because I didn't smoke
cigarettes. I didn't know if you had heard anybody. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about these cigarettes. They were $1 a pack for 40 of them.
What?
Yeah. This
like
is
a carton.
This is in 2009. Yeah. So the joke was we called them 40 rockets. And the joke was that we called them that because they get you to cancer faster. Because they're $1 a pack, and they were from Saudi Arabia. We have no clue, dude. But what I would do is I would be up in my turret for again 12, 16 hours sometimes, and I would just puff them. I wouldn't inhale them all the way. I would just puff them. Yeah. Because you still get the hit of nicotine, not as strong, but you still get some. But it gives you something to do.
Yeah,
it gives you something to do while you're standing there.
To me, that's the allure of cigarettes. Because, of course, naturally, they're in movies all the time and TV shows. God, I love Mad Men. They make you look cool. Yeah. Did you watch Mad Men? Love it. And so, for me, that was the appeal of them. And I have smoked a cigar as well, where it was like, and that's where you don't inhale like at all. Yeah. And I remember it was after we had graduated high school. This was like college, and my high school buddies and all of us met up for a party. It was one of the first times we had seen each other in a while. We all sat outside and smoked cigars, and cool. I was like, man, this really feels like a grown-up moment.
There's things that men need to do together, and that's one of them. And it doesn't
even
have
if it's
to be,
not regularly.
It doesn't have to be a regular thing. Just like men together smoking a cigar. Yeah, I did go through a phase where I smoked a tobacco pipe. I was smoking tobacco out of a tobacco pipe. Let me be very specific here. But I found that I was very contemplative, and maybe it was just because I wasn't doing anything else but keeping that pipe lit, which is very difficult. But it's just one of those things where I find myself going back and forth of if I want to get back into doing that or not. I don't know why.
The ritual to me, especially with a pipe, and I remember with every time I'd watch Lord of the Rings, just seeing in the first movie, the long one looks so cool. Yeah. But to me, the whole nature of when you watch someone do the whole emptying it and filling it and all those little things, that's why it's popular as well, I think.
For me, it's like, I don't know why I'm going back and forth in my mind if I want to get back into smoking a tobacco pipe. I'm not going to. But for some reason, every so often, it'll creep into my thoughts like, what if I did, though? Yeah. What if I did? What if I was out camping?
Give me the link.
I did.
What style would you want? Would you want a little guy like one of those like wooden?
I had a wooden straight stem pipe.
Oh, straight stem.
Yep. It was the color of it was kind of like a walnut.
Oh, pretty.
A walnut stain, and I smoked a tobacco called Nordic Gold, which was very sweet smelling, but also very smooth. So it was very easy to puff on. And I would probably do it like once or twice a month, because at that point in time, my commute to and from work was 1 hour each way.
Wow, yeah.
So it was an hour there and then an hour back. and that's a lot of drive time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you'd be driving home, and I'm tired, and had a rough day, it was difficult, whatever the case may be, and I would puff up my tobacco pipe on the way home. The number of odd looks you get as a young man smoking a tobacco pipe is hilarious, especially when you're driving.
Yeah.
Because people are like, "Is that tobacco? What's going on? What's going on with this dude in the pack?" But it's I don't know. I think I did it. I think I did it for about a year, not even off and on for about a year or so. I will say this: I completely forgot about this until just now. When I got back from Iraq, I was visiting my parents, and I had a pickup at the time. I was sitting on the tailgate of my truck at my parents' house in their driveway, and I was puffing on a Marlboro Red cigarette.
Oh man,
and my mom and dad, it was strong. My mom and dad pull up.
Oh snap!
And my mom gets out of the car and she looks at me and she goes, just out of nowhere, I'm like, "Oh hey, what's up?" And I'm just puffing on the cigarette. She goes, "What's next? Weed?" And just storms off into the house. And I looked at my dad, and my dad looks at me, and he goes, I was so,
"Cool."
I was so taken
So
aback.
tell me what you think of crack next time I see you.
I was not expecting that reaction at all.
we talk about dad jokes, but mom sayings are a thing as well, and that's a mom saying for sure.
They hit you out of nowhere, dog.
Bro.
Like I remember one time I was standing in their kitchen. Again, this was right after I got back from Iraq. Surprise, surprise! People in the military cuss a lot.
Yeah,
it's just part of the culture.
Part of the culture.
It's just what I did. So I was standing in their kitchen, and at the time in the Army, at least, when someone is thinking of the word to say, instead of saying like or
I'm so bad with ums and uhs
and like pausing, we would just say the F word really long. So, for example, we're having a conversation right now, and I need to think of something. Frickin', I would use the F word. And that's how you would say it.
I used to say the frickin' when in between words when I was younger, and I had to break that habit. Mm-hmm. There was a period where I was like, and I just frickin'. It is a go-to.
So that was our, except again with the F word. So I'm standing in my parents' kitchen, and my mom is. I'm facing my mom, but she's facing the wall while doing dishes, like looking out the window. And my dad's in the kitchen too. And we're talking, and I let that slip. And she's washing dishes. She just stops. She puts the dishes down, doesn't look at me. She just looks up out the window and goes, "Excuse me?"
Oh, snap.
I was like, "Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm sorry."
The slow movement and not looking at you when you say it is
it's
whoa.
terrifying. Like I've been deployed, I've been in combat, and this short little 5'0" redhead pausing
scares
like,
you.
"Excuse me? I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry."
Oh man, yeah, it's that is the crutch words are easy to fall on. And at work, I found that I did it a lot on the phones. When I first worked at not telemarketing. It was a cubicle job, and I had to help people to give the tutorials on how to use a program over the phone. And I shared my screen with them so they could see my computer screen. I was telling them, you click this to do this, blah, blah, blah. But my crutch word was absolutely. So every time I did anything, they did anything, absolutely. Yep, that's how you do it, absolutely. And then when I hung up the phone, I had been working there just like a week. There was this moment where I hung up, and I was like, wow, that was a good call. Good job, Will. And I rotated the chair, and I looked, and everyone in the office was just watching me and with a smile, looking at me. And I was terrified because this was not an office space where I was talking with anyone. I was very intimidated. Just being in a tucked-in shirt is not my style. So I turned around, and everyone's just looking at me and kind of holding back laughter. And I'm like, what? And they're like, you did. One of them was like, you did. That was good. No, it was good. Absolutely. And then like they all started laughing. They're like, you gotta quit saying it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's nonstop.
So I'm gonna kind of steer the conversation in a different way, but kind of in the same vein. When it comes to like etiquette, I know what you're talking about because sometimes I'm on the phone with someone, but I need to do something while I'm on the phone with them. It's like part of what we're talking about. I'm checking my calendar or something like that. I make little noises. And it's not because of I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, to break the silence?
I'm letting them know I'm still there.
Yes.
That's okay. So, here's my question. When you're using the bathroom in a public bathroom, and you're in the stall.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing in the stall, but you're in the stall. Somebody walks in. Let's say
I
you're
hate
the
this.
only two.
I know where it's going, dude.
Do you automatically make a noise?
Okay.
So do you do you clear your throat? Do you...
Yeah. And you know why? It's
too.
because I don't want to hear their own little musings because they think they're alone. People are weird in bathrooms, dude.
So for
Guys
me,
get weird.
For me, ladies, to the two ladies that are probably watching this, I know Miss Harriet's watching.
Flood of stories are coming in my head right now.
I'm going to give you some insight on male bathroom etiquette here. You do not talk when you're in the bathroom, period.
Yeah.
You're in a public bathroom. There's more than one guy in there. You don't speak to that person, even if you know them.
The only thing I'll say is, oh, this sink works. They'll go over to one and it does what I don't want to work.
Yeah. You're 100% right. It's so strange that this is an understood thing. Okay. So men don't talk to each other in the bathroom, period. It's just something that we don't do. If I'm using a stall and I know that I'm the only person in that bathroom and I hear someone else walk in, I automatically just give a and it's so they know this stall is occupied. It's not that they can't tell that the door's shut. It's locked. You could probably see my feet. It's that sound.
Yep.
They know.
They know.
But
and that can affect how they act in there as well.
It does. Yeah. So young guys, because I do work on a military base sometimes. Young guys, for some reason, don't know that this is etiquette.
No,
and
it's not a hangout room.
By that I mean they'll be on their phone full blast audio,
dude,
at the urinal.
I see it with young. It's always younger guys.
Urinal, and I'm like,
bro,
guys, this is a sacred place.
Yeah,
this is a quiet place. We don't talk to each other. We don't comment to each other. We don't joke. You do your business. You find the good sink, and you get out.
That's it.
That's it. Like,
even in a man's home, the bathroom is such a...
my wife has made the comment that all wives have made, like, why does it take you so long to use the bathroom? It's like, it's the only place I can sit and think and actually hear myself.
It's completely alone. It's completely you, just by yourself. It's quiet. And you even have a seat.
Exactly. I get to sit down, and nobody bothers me.
It's so strange what you said about how it's younger guys, because I've noticed that. And truly, I see... especially teenage age, they will hang out. They'll finish using bathroom, but they're joking around, hanging out, chatting in the bathroom. And I'm like, guys, this isn't the girls' room.
You're throwing me off, guys. Come on,
it's really,
get out.
And really, what gets me is when the reverse of where someone. So like, if someone thinks they're alone in a bathroom,
those are the best,
dude. When they're alone in the stall and they're letting out just all the. And grunts, or of course farts, all that stuff. But
that's to be expected.
That's to be expected. But
right,
it just feels better to cough or make a noise so they know they can dial it back too.
Yeah, they know you're there.
Yeah.
I was when I was in high school. It was in the summertime because I was with a friend of mine. So I had a mentor when I was younger. His name's Jeff Flippo. Great man, very intelligent, super cool guy. He asked me to go to the IRS building, the local IRS building, with him one time, and I was like, okay, whatever, just running an errand, it's cool. We went into the IRS building, and as we're going in, he goes, listen, I'm dealing with this thing with the IRS. They're saying I owe taxes when I don't, and I'm trying to get this figured out. I need you to pretend to be my son and just look really sad.
I love this. I would love this scenario. Anytime I can act, I'm on board. I didn't
even question it. I'm like, okay, let's do it. I got your back, bro. And we go in. He's like, oh, I got to use the bathroom first. Yeah, sure, okay. So we go into the bathroom, and this is also an etiquette thing with men. If there are 3 urinals and two people, you leave the urinal in between open.
Oh, dude! If you don't do that,
that's what you do.
So weird.
Now, if someone has used the middle one, you do. If you have the ability, you leave it open. Okay.
Open urinal.
So there was no middle urinal. So we're sitting next to each other using the 2 urinals, and then a third guy comes in. He's not, don't know who this guy is. Walks into the stall that's directly next to us. So there's 1 stall, 2 urinals. We're at the urinals. He's in the stall. And I have just been told by Jeff to look sad. So I'm trying to get into character, right? I'm trying to look like a sad son. Oh, don't take my house.
The bathroom's a good place to do that.
So I'm getting into character. And as we're sitting there, it's super quiet. We're not doing it. We're observing the etiquette. And the guy in the stall lets out the loudest fart. And this is what I see. This is what I see from Jeff. So Jeff is next to me. Okay, this is what I see.
Like, did you hear that, bro?
His eyes, and for the people who are listening, he turns 90 degrees, stares at me. His eyes are huge, and he's smiling, and I am I can feel my face turning red and sweating because I'm fighting the laugh. I'm fighting the laugh that this face.
Because that poor guy doesn't want to hear laughing.
No,
probably.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like he's been holding that since lunch, and he finally couldn't hold it anymore. And I'm fighting this laugh. So we go out into the hall. I compose myself. We go into the room. It's like this really, really big room with, signs and everything of where to direct. And Jeff and I go in there. We're waiting for his person to come.
Yeah.
It's that guy.
No
same
way.
Guy. So he calls Jeff over. So Jeff
it's
and I
the guy y'all got to meet with?
Yeah.
Bro, it's like you wrote it.
We sit down. And I'm not looking sad at all. I'm fighting so hard not to laugh. Jeff is holding it together. I'm not. Like, I eventually get up and go sit down in the main scene area. It was so bad, man. Bro. It was so bad. But just his look, there's no words.
It's sitcom style.
It was.
It really is.
Will, this is a real thing. This happened. I can tell you the building it happened in. Like, it's
bro.
Oh man, it was ridiculous.
Gosh, Jen and I, my girlfriend, she and I were talking about how, to boys, farts are just funny, and it's to guys. And
they're funny to my daughter. That's how I get her to laugh.
Yeah, and I think that it's, I wouldn't have been able to hold in that laughter either, man. That is too good. I walked into a quick story, walked into a Lowe's, Food Lion late right before they closed, and walked into the bathroom, and a guy was singing, what was it? I don't know for sure. I want to say it was the Respect song.
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Yeah. And he's sitting in the stall alone singing that. And I thought that was the funniest thing.
The funny part is when he gets to sock it to me.
He was singing. I'm pretty sure that was it. And he worked there, and he was probably about to leave for the night, and thought he was alone. And I walked in, and he's singing full volume and doesn't know him in there. And then there was a brief moment where he stopped singing, and I was like, I couldn't help myself. I was like, it's pretty good. And he busted out laughing. He was like, wait. Are you a customer? And then I was like, yep. And then he was like, oh, snap, man.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I
so
love that.
there are moments where, like, there's that that understanding of, like, look, I mean, it's a bathroom, we're all the same in here.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm telling you, man, it is not, it's so funny. There are these unspoken rules, unwritten rules to it, too.
Yeah, there are. And, I mean, you got to observe them.
I forgot. I will go in a women's restroom if I have to. I'm sorry, but I will.
I mean, don't apologize to
Dude,
me. I'm sorry for the ladies that come in after you.
Me too. And I'm sorry for any ladies that are in there. And it's probably wrong.
So wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Let me get some perspective here. Is it like
it's going down, and I need to go to the bathroom?
Is it those women's bathrooms where it's just like the single toilet?
No.
Oh, you'll go into like the ones with like bays,
like anything. Stalls. Yeah, big bathroom, small bathroom.
Have you ever had a situation where like somebody's walked in?
It's yes. The last time I went, it was a full bathroom, like full of women, and I was uncomfortable, but I had no choice.
You were uncomfortable. I can imagine how.
Oh, I know. Well, I went to the stall at the farthest end against the wall.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's funny. I actually like had my feet lifted, like they look at my shoes. But
those are man's feet, getting girls.
Hey, I know a Reebok when I see it. No, but I don't even own Reeboks.
This is so ridiculous.
But yeah, I'm sorry. We were at a one of those Pottery Barn stores, big store, home improvement stores, and something about when you walk in them big stores, you just have to go to the bathroom, sort of like a Barnes and Noble.
You're not wrong. Yep.
So I go and I'm like, and I go. This was the weirdest thing. It's like this store knew that most of their customers were women because the men's restroom, I'm not joking with you, had 2 stalls and like 2 urinals. The women's room had like 6 stalls, and I was like, okay, so I can't. There are men doing the
Well, you
same.
do understand that it's more difficult for women to use urinals, hence why they don't have them.
That makes sense.
We'll talk about it after.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now I feel kind of bad. They need those. I'm trying to tell you.
Literally
Listen, they need them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really. But what is it?
I love the look on you. You had an actual epiphany there. You were like, oh, yeah, they can't actually. That's why they don't.
Yeah, okay. So that's how that works. But bro, there were two men using the stalls, and I couldn't wait. So I went in there, and they're like, the difference in etiquette, they're in there chit-chatting. Like, it was a lot, and I just was so uncomfortable, but, you know.
Did you try to do like the Mrs. Doubtfire thing from like the back stall? You're like, oh, hello. You know, like you're kind of like, oh yes, girls. Like you're trying to. I can't even do a female voice, but like you're trying.
Wore the wrong dress today.
Yeah, you're right. That's like good. You're trying to be a part of it, but not really. Like,
I'm dead quiet, and I'm so, and of course those dang gaps in the stall doors are huge. So every once in a while, I would see someone just like walk by and kind of glance, and I was like,
"There's a dude in the building that I work in,
yeah,
and I intentionally, and I promise we're going to move off the bathroom talk in a second. I promise. There's a dude that works in the building that I work in. He doesn't work in the same office or shop.
Yeah.
But I intentionally avoid going to the bathroom the same time he does because he does that. But the problem is how long he stands there.
Yeah.
It's like, you can very clearly tell.
Oh, for sure. If it's a quick glance,
you can tell. Because you don't see a white toilet.
Yeah.
You see colors.
A form.
You see a person.
Yeah.
But he'll just kind of hang out a little longer than he should.
Bro.
And I know his name.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, so-and-so, we're in here. Sorry. And then he'll shuffle away. He's an older guy. And I'm like, he's not that old, though. Like, he can figure it out.
How do we not have the design better now to where those stall doors aren't these 2-inch gaps?
You think we've got a bad design? You should see our Iraqi toilets, bro.
Oh, snap.
It's like, I've seen the strangest range of toilets across the planet.
Dude.
In Europe, urinals are literally just a wall with metal on it and a drain on the floor.
Yeah.
And you just stand next to other dudes and just urinate on this metal wall.
It's strange.
In Iraq, I've seen everything from a toilet on top of a giant platform in a building. It was like there was like you walk into the bathroom and then there's a platform with a toilet on top and you walk up the stairs. And it's not like it has like plumbing, but and then I've seen like the traditional hole in the wall, like a hole in the floor. But something's gone on with my camera just now.
Oh,
Can
really?
you turn around and read that screen to me?
Oh yeah, sure thing. This says no space on memory card.
I've actually.
We're probably at the end of the episode.
I was gonna say I've already cleared them out. I promise. I promise. I'll figure it out.
It's so great. I think all these little quirky moments, it's real.
Yeah, it's all good. So we'll end it there.
Yeah.
This has been great. I promise we're not going to be a toilet humor podcast, even though we.
Thank you for joining us for Toilet Talk.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously though, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Lots more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Another episode next week. Please like and subscribe. Please share our show. If you're having fun, just let us know.
Smash that like button.
Please, the YouTube algorithm gods. All right.
Peace
Later,
out.
guys.